The New York Islanders fell to the New York Rangers in overtime in a preseason game last night. We'll talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly from last night's game and a whole lot more on today's Locked On Islanders podcast.
Your Locked On Islanders, your daily podcast on the New York Islanders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome, everybody, to the Tuesday edition of the Locked On Islanders podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I want to thank everyone who makes Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts so you never miss an episode. I'm Gil Martin. I've been covering the New York Islanders for almost 2 decades, and I wrote the book Ice Wars on the history of the Islanders' rivalry with the Rangers from 1972 to the modern era. So glad you could join us today to talk a little Islanders hockey, and we have got a lot to discuss. We'll talk about last night's overtime loss to the Rangers, some very good things to talk about, but some very big concerns as well. We'll also break down what Patrick Roy had to say about Mathew Barzal's position switch and why I think he's wrong. And we'll also have the latest injury updates and an update on the event going to take place at UBS Arena before the Olympics. So all that, plus our Islanders' birthday of the day, coming up today. Let's start with the game. Islanders fall 3-2 to the New York Rangers in overtime. But there were enough things in this game to like. And, you know, again, we saw, for example, let's start with the great Matthew Schaefer, another one of those hustle plays where he used his skating ability to break up a breakaway opportunity in this game by Matt Rempe, did not trip him, got all puck and stick, did not get the skate, and just made a really good play. We are seeing Schaefer learning a little bit more each time he's out there on the ice. Yeah, there's always going to be breakdowns, but you know, he's got a lot to learn more on the defensive side of the ice than he does on the offensive. But overall, I like the progress I'm seeing from Matthew Schaefer. There should be no doubt in anybody's mind that he's going to get the 9-game tryout at the beginning of the season, and then we'll see whether or not he ends up staying for the whole season. I would say as of right now, he probably will. I got to give kudos to Anthony Duclair. He had a goal. He had an assist. He was a +2 in this game, the only Islander who was a +2. But more importantly, in my mind, we saw the burst, the speed that Anthony Duclair has that was missing last year after the injury. And in order to be effective, to be a good player in this league, Anthony Duclair needs to turn on the jets. He needs to use his skating ability and his speed. And we saw that. And the fact that it's coming back is very important for the New York Islanders, without question. Another plus in this game, Tony DeAngelo scored a goal, 5 shots on goal, second only to Bo Horvat, who had 6. And I want to point out one play by Max Shabanov that, you know, he was coming down the wing with the puck. He had a player on him and still was able to get the shot away. And that's what I really like to see. When you're the big question about Shabanov is his lack of size. And the fact that he was still able to muscle his way through, skate his way through with a guy all over him and get the shot away. that was a good sign. And again, being able to do it once is good. If you really, really want to play consistently well in the NHL, you've got to do it game in and game out. We did not see that yet, but again, some pretty good signs. Now, the drawbacks. Special teams. Well, the penalty kill didn't give up any goals, but the power play continues to underwhelm. And, there was some better zone time there. I liked that. But got to finish. The Islanders had 32 shots on goal in this game to just 19 for the Rangers. You got to finish more of those shots. You got to make, in the first two periods, most of the shots the Islanders took were not high danger shots. And, getting a lot of shots, a high volume is good, but if it's all from the perimeter and the goalie can see it, not a lot of those are going to go in. So get to those dirty areas, work for it. We want to see a little more of that. The ugly. I'm going to come out and say it. As of right now, the New York Islanders have a backup goalie problem. They have a distinct backup goalie problem. David Rittich was in between the pipes for this entire game for the New York Islanders. Played all 60 minutes of regulation and the 42 seconds of overtime. There was a minute one of overtime, but he was out of the net on delayed penalties, so he played the whole game. Okay? An .842 save percentage. And that was better. It got better as the game went on. One goal that he gave up out of the three was a definite softie where he was just too far back at his net. Did not play the angle well. But I could tell you right now, neither David Rittich nor Marcus Hogberg have showed enough that would make me confident in them to be the backup goalie. And everydayers, I've mentioned before, this team has 15 back-to-back games this year in the Olympics. And we don't want Ilya Sorokin to play more than 50, 52, 53 games tops this year because realistically speaking, he breaks down after that. He's not as effective. He gets injured sometimes as well. I want to see a reliable backup who the Islanders could put out there for 30 games, give or take, and know you're going to get quality starts in most of those games. I don't see that yet. The Islanders need to see more from these backup goalies. And if we don't see it soon, Mathew Barzal should be combing the waiver wires to try to find another goalie who could compete for ice time. Because right now, I could tell you right now, if Sorokin has to start 60-plus games this year, either he's going to be less effective or he's going to be hurt, and that is just going to be bad news for this team. I want to see a reliable backup goalie. And still no word on Semyon Varlamov. I don't expect him to be back anytime soon. Maybe not back this season at all. We don't know. We're waiting for more word. But right now, we do not have a backup goalie that I feel confident in. And we need to see that sooner rather than later if this team has any hope of competing for a playoff spot. Now, if you're looking at this year as a tank or a year where, okay, we're going to trade away some more veterans, bring in some more picks, prospects, younger players, I'm more interested in developing these guys than I am about wins and losses, then maybe you want to keep mediocrity as, in your backup goalies. But realistically, you want to at least give your team a chance, and therefore you need a backup goalie you can count on. I would love for David Rittich or Marcus Hogberg to prove me wrong, but so far, I haven't seen it. And that's the issue. So I like the physicality I saw overall from the team in this game. Heineman was out there doing his thing. One thing I didn't see, though, Heineman, nice experiment putting him on the top line, but I don't see it as a long-term solution. I said that yesterday. Nothing I saw on the ice last night against the Rangers tells me otherwise. He was a -1. He did not have a shot on goal in the game. He did have 4 hits, but I just don't see Emil Heineman, and he got power play time. I do not see him as a guy who really belongs on the top line or on the power play right now. And look, I get it. Patrick Roy is experimenting. No problem with that. Let him do it. But this team just doesn't have a clear-cut top-line winger right now. And that search may be long-term. All right, we've got more to get to on today's show. Patrick Roy talking to the media about why he moved Mathew Barzal back to center. I'll tell you why he's probably wrong in his thinking. We'll have the latest injury updates. And for our Islanders' birthday of the day, a winger who was with the Islanders in the 2000 teens, the mid-2000 teens. Let's see if you can guess who this Connecticut native is. All this and more coming up on today's Locked On Islanders podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by your friends at FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer that you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love how FanDuel gives me so many ways to play. I've built parlays, I've tried player props, and even followed the live lines during games. It makes watching football even more exciting when you've got a little something riding on the action. So whether you're a casual fan or love diving into the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. Again, place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you get $300 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Check it out today. So Patrick Roy was talking to the media on Monday, and he basically addressed that some film study he did from the Islanders' back-to-back playoff runs to the conference final back in 2020 and 2021. He liked what he saw in that footage of Mathew Barzal playing center. And that's the big reason he moved him back. Roy said, every time you're looking at your players and your roster, you want to see what is best for the New York Islanders. And I think having Barzy playing as a center is probably the best thing for us. Why am I saying this? I watched the playoffs when this team had a good run. He played really well as a centerman, so why not go there? The approach has proven effective for this organization. I know he likes to play with Bo, and this is something we're going to do. But what is best for us? That playoff run he had when he was playing with Anders Lee and Eberle, they played so well together. I think Eberle against Pittsburgh was scoring almost every night. So I think that's what Barzy could bring to the table for us. Here's the problem I have with that. It may very well be true that Mathew Barzal is a little better at center than he is at wing. And yeah, if you go back and look at that, the 2 playoff runs, Barzal was a big part of it. and he was playing center, and that was a big part of it. But if you look at the Islanders roster right now and what you've got, you have a glut at center, and you don't have enough quality wings to fill in a top six. That is a problem. That is a problem. Because at center, you've got Bo, Barzy, J.G. Pageau, Casey Cizikas, Kyle McLean. We've, talked about Cal Ritchie. That's 6 deep right there. 6 centers. What do you got on the wing? Who do you have on the wing right now? The Islanders are playing Jonathan Drouin on the top line. He's probably a second liner on a good team. But is he top 6 if he's healthy? Yeah. The fact that the Islanders had Max Shabanov starting on the top line at right wing when they didn't even know if he was ready to, make the adjustments to the NHL game and play really well that way, it tells you they're lacking talent and depth. That they put Emil Heineman, and it's nothing against Heineman. He's a solid 3rd or 4th line player. He's probably a solid 3rd line player and a really good 4th line player. But he is not a top 6 forward. And what have we seen from this team on the wing in past years? We've seen Casey Cizikas moved up to the top line. We've seen Uncle Leo moved up. Leo Komarov on the top line. Neither one of those guys, no offense to them, they're solid, good, bottom 6 forwards, but they're not top line wingers. Simon Holmstrom, 3rd line guy who still has the potential to maybe become a 2nd line guy. Kyle Palmieri, 2nd line guy. Anthony Duclair, 2nd or 3rd line guy. Siplikov, 3rd or 4th line as of right now. You just don't have top line wing talent or enough 2nd line wing talent, and you've got a glut at center. So maybe you move Casey Cizikas. Maybe you move J.G. Pageau in a trade, which everydayers you'll remember we spoke about yesterday. Maybe you move him, or you can move Pageau to wing, and he could take faceoffs because Barzal, not good at faceoffs. Anders Lee used to take the faceoffs for him. Anders Lee, 2nd line quality winger when he's healthy. Not a 1st line quality, though, at this stage in his career, at the age of 35. You need more help on the wing. So whether you move Barzy to the wing, one of the other centers to the wing, or better yet, you say, hey, we've got 6 quality NHL quality centers. Maybe I trade one of them for a winger. I could plug Cal Ritchie in and move Cizikas or Pageau and maybe get a winger who could step in and give this team a little more offense on the wing. See, I understand in a vacuum that you can watch the footage of Barzal and say, yep, he's a little better at center than he is on the wing. But if you look at the team in front of you, if you look at the roster in front of you, you've got to admit that you have a glut at center and you're lacking top line talent on the wing. So to take a top line talent like Barzal, and he's not a goal scorer, he's a setup guy. I understand that. But his skating ability and his speed make him a top line or 2nd line player. And you need more of those guys on the wing. There's no way around that. So I get it if you're just looking big picture and you just want to say, yes, I think Mathew Barzal is a better center than he is a wing. But the New York Islanders have too many centers and not enough wings as far as quality is concerned. So they've got to figure out a way to fix that problem. Hopefully they will. And if Barzy stays at center and they can make a trade and bring in some more talent on the outside in the forward group on the wing, great. There has to be another move because the way this team is set up right now, you're lacking offense overall. You're lacking scoring touch. And you want to try to make up for that. We'll see how Matthew Darche and Patrick Roy handle the situation. But that's where I see an issue with the logic of Patrick Roy. And I respect Patrick Roy. He is a very knowledgeable hockey guy. But I think if you look at the big picture of where this team is at, keeping Barzy on the wing makes a little more sense for this team right now than moving him back to center. All right, more to get to on today's show. We'll have the latest injury updates and some news about the pre-Olympic event that may be happening at UBS Arena. We'll talk about that and have our Islanders birthday of the day next on today's Locked On Islanders podcast. Anders Lee was skating with the team. And that alone, good news. Good news. He said he's feeling good, working through a minor injury issue. He said it happened last game early and it just ended up not going away by the end. I woke up with some discomfort, so it's just maintenance. It's progressing fine. Nothing to worry about. Hopefully I could take that red thing off for the next practice. The red thing being the non-contact jersey. He said he wants to play in one of the last preseason games, but he added, it'd be nice to get in one more just for timing, but we've got 82 games ahead, and I want to feel really good for those. So it sounds like, barring a setback, that Anders Lee will be ready for opening night on October 9th. You're in Pittsburgh Thursday night. Hopefully everything works. He's ready to go. Whether he plays in the preseason finale Thursday night in Philly, we have to see. Lee also, by the way, had this to say about Cal Ritchie. He's got a really good skill set. When the puck's on his stick, something's going to happen. He's a really smart player, and you can see the 200-foot game in him. When he gets a scoring spot, he can rip it. He looks like a well-rounded centerman with a good head on his shoulders. Now, last night against the Rangers, Ritchie did not stand out. He was a -1. He did have 3 shots on goal, 1 hit. But, again, it's a process. It's going to take time. And I think if I'm the Islanders, I can live with the growing pains of Cal Ritchie under the circumstances. But at least Anders Lee appears to be in a position, barring a setback, to be ready for opening night. Now, there was one other piece of news, and Sports Business Journal basically had a report that said that the NHL would have an Olympic send-off event at the UBS Arena that would, quote, resemble the Super Bowl opening night event that precedes the NFL's championship game each season. That, according to Alex Silverman of Sports Business Journal. Players and coaches will appear at the event on the arena floor before traveling to the games through JFK International Airport. The event will be open to the public. The date will be announced at a later time. So, look, the way I'm looking at this as a fan, Nice. I'd be happy if this event was held on Long Island at the rink, but it doesn't replace an all-star game. So, memo to the NHL. Give us an all-star game, or better yet, let Long Island be one of the host arenas for the next Four Nations tournament. Some of those games, I would love that. That'd be even better than an all-star game for reasons I've discussed, as everydayers will recall on the show. All-star games don't have the juice they used to have. But I'm glad that the Islanders will get to host this event, and I'm hoping that in the future we get a real substantial event to replace the All-Star game that was canceled by the NHL for this season that the Islanders were supposed to host. We'll keep you posted, but that's the latest news with regard to the event. And like I said, hopefully we do get that major event and not just this nice but not substantial substitute for an all-star game. Time now for our Islanders birthday of the day, and today is the 41st birthday of former Islanders forward Colin McDonald. Originally a second-round pick of the Oilers in 2003, spent 4 years at Providence College, made his NHL debut for Edmonton in 2009-2010, played for Pittsburgh briefly, and then joined the Islanders in the 2012-2013 season, spent 2.5 seasons on the island, then played briefly for the Flyers and finished his career in the minors with the Islanders organization. After the 2019-2020 season, he hung up the skates. Colin McDonald played in 148 career NHL games. He scored 20 goals, had 46 points, and 73 penalty minutes. He played in 11 playoff games, 8 of those with the New York Islanders. He had 2 goals and 3 points, all of those with the Islanders, and 4 penalty minutes. He was really a checking forward, a penalty killer, a bottom 6 forward who was effective at the style that he played. One of his better games with the Islanders, March 25th, 2014, the Islanders visiting the Carolina Hurricanes down in Raleigh. Anders Nielsen, the goalie for the Islanders, Anton Khudobin, the starter for Carolina. And our Islanders' birthday of the day, Colin McDonald opens the scoring 3.5 minutes into the game. His 7th of the year, Thomas Hickey and Ryan Strome with the assists. After Cal Clutterbuck made it 2-0 Islanders, less than a minute after that, Colin McDonald strikes again, his 2nd of the game, 8th of the year. Calvin DeHaan and Travis Hamonic with the assists. Islanders up 3-0 at that point. McDonald in the second period assists on a goal by Matt Martin. Ryan Strome, the other assist. Islanders go on to a 5-4 win. But for Colin McDonald, a 3-point night, 2 goals, 1 assist. He's a +4. He had 5 shots on goal in just 13 minutes and 48 seconds of ice time. The 5 shots led all Islanders players in this game. Nielsen with 24 saves to get the win. Khudobin chased Cam Ward, ended up finishing up. But for the Islanders, a 5-4 win. And for Colin McDonald, a rare 3-point night for him. Colin McDonald is our Islanders' birthday of the day. Thank you for making Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. For your second listen, go find Locked On Fantasy Hockey. Steele Roden and Flip Livingstone provide daily fantasy tips that'll give you the edge over your league mates, all while making you a smarter hockey fan. Find Locked On Fantasy Hockey on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. It's part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. If you have a question, maybe a comment or a topic you'd like us to discuss on a future episode, email us at lockedonislanders@gmail.com. If you leave your first name and where you're from, we're happy to mention you on the show when we discuss whatever's on your mind. You could follow the show on X at Locked On Isles, and you could follow me, Gil Martin, on X at Ice Wars, NYR, VSNYI. We'll keep you up to date on all things Islanders all year long, and I am live tweeting during nearly every Islanders home and road game. So join me for some instant insight and analysis, and it's great to talk Islanders hockey with you, game time or anytime. Everydayers, we are back tomorrow. We'll have the latest Islanders news, notes, and happenings as we prepare for the final preseason game on Thursday. And yeah, this is the end of September. Today is the last day of September. We're a week and a half away from the debut of Islanders hockey. So, everydayers, make sure you join us tomorrow as we have the Islanders covered every step of the way. Have a great day, everybody. Stay safe. And of course, let's go Islanders.